Hello everyone, I'm Virat from Tech, Tesla and More. This is the first video I'm going to make about my Tesla Model 3. Now I have the long-range rear-wheel drive version. I purchased it in June 2019, so it's been about a year since I bought the car. When I ordered it back in March 2019, they had stopped producing the rear-wheel drive model. And they actually sent me an email asking me to reconsider ordering an all-wheel drive model. But I got lucky, and in June they made another production run and made a few thousand of these rear-wheel drive long-range models. And I was lucky enough to get one of those. So this is probably, unless they reboot it again, probably one of the last Tesla Model 3s in the long-range rear-wheel drive that was produced. And I don't think you can order those anymore. I've had it for a year. I've put on about 20,369 miles. So I've put on over 20,000 miles in less than 12 months. At the end of the month would be the 1-year anniversary for this car. I've also not driven as much because of the quarantine and restrictions on travel over the last 3 months or so. So otherwise I would probably be around 25,000. So I did cancel a couple of trips. And let's talk about the features that I like, the customizations I made. I'm gonna step out and show you the customizations I've made, the things I've caused my car to suffer through. So this is my car. First things you'll notice is I have the 18-inch wheels. The rims under the hubcaps are beautiful, and I went with them. I took off the hubcaps and replaced this Tesla logo, and then the lug nut covers there. You can buy those off of Tesla's own website, or you can buy them off of Amazon or eBay. I think I got off of Amazon. You might also notice the mud guards there. So the mud guards I purchased off of eBay initially. And I'll tell you that later, but I had to replace one of them, and I bought off eBay again. The first time I bought them for about 30-something bucks. But I just ordered them 2 weeks ago off of a different website. And I got them for off of eBay, but a different seller. I got them for just $10 for 4, which was incredible. I'm not really sure how they afford to do that. Anyway, so let's talk about my car. It's the Midnight Silver Metallic model, which luckily goes really well with these mudguards, right? I mean, doesn't it feel like these mudguards belong to this car, to this option? It looks like they are made for this car, so I lucked out in that aspect. I have not replaced the tires yet. I've heard a lot of people complaining about how the tires run out pretty quickly, and I've had a heavy foot on this car. I will be honest, I took out a lot of my friends and family to show them the acceleration. Not as great as the all-wheel drive model, but still pretty substantial. And I've not stripped the tires. I rotated them myself 3 times. I just have an old jack from my old Civic that I use to lift up both sides with the single jack. And I do have the pucks. I just keep the pucks in my car in case I need it. Let me see if I can pull one of these out. Yep, here we go. So I have 4 of these pucks. Not that I need 4. But in case I do need 4, I have them. This is a must-have, obviously, for a Tesla, because that's what goes under the car to protect your battery pack from a slip jack. I do keep a wrench to open up my tires if need be, and I keep that in the trunk. I guess I could keep it in my house or garage, but I just keep it in my trunk. I have caused 2 damages to my car. I've damaged my car twice. The first time was a few months after I bought it. I was following a truck too closely. I was on autopilot. The truck swerved a little bit and I didn't know why he was swerving, but then there was a huge piece of tire laying on the floor or on the road, and I ran into it, and that was the left side of the car. And I believe that I might have caused some damage to the undercarriage of the car. Now let me see if you can see it. I don't think I can find it anymore because I think you can see it right there. There's a little rip on it. Yep, yeah, I think it's visible. So that I actually took it to Tesla, and the mechanic at Tesla said that, hey, I would not replace that if this was my car. It's not really worth it. It's not doing much, and it's not like leaning down or hitting anything. It's staying put. So they recommended that I don't replace it, which was surprising for a dealership to tell me to not do something that I want to do, may I need it or not. Most dealerships would just tell you to go ahead and do it just because it's extra money for them. Anyway, so I didn't do it. I followed their word, and I haven't had issues. The second time was just 2 weeks ago when I accidentally hit another tire. This time I wasn't on autopilot. There was no cars in front of me, but I actually looked down to play with my maps and find a better route, and boom. And this was a bigger tire on this side, and you can see the damage right off the bat. Obviously you can't see it when you're standing because this is below that curve right there. So you can see this paint damage and a little bit of bumper damage. You can see the rubber come off sort of. What else? Let's see. I haven't had a good look. Actually, these two clips, if you see that's that clip and that clip over there, they've come off. I did not notice that earlier. So I will go ahead and replace those. I did not notice those earlier, so we are finding it out together. And there's actually a couple of paint scratches. The car is dirty right now, so you can't see it that well. But we're fine. It's not paint, it's actually wax that sort of has a little bit of scratches because the tire was round and like had the the metal wires inside that was exposed, and it sort of scratched the side of my car. And actually this, you see how this one looks cleaner than the other ones? This one actually broke, and that's why I ordered it again. So I ordered them for $10 for all four of them, and I replaced this one because this mud guard had broke. So that's all for the outside of the car. I'm gonna get back inside and talk to you more about the inside. Okay, I'm back inside my car. I wanted to talk to you about some of the inside things that I've done. Not much. Sorry about the mess. I do have my face mask here hanging out. I did put this sticker here. This is supposed to make it look like carbon fiber decal thing. Honestly, I probably would buy a higher quality one if I were to do it again. You can kind of see it there too. I do keep some microfiber cloths in here to like wipe down anything I need. I have my sunglasses and some leather cleaner material, just some protectant. I guess it's not really a leather cleaner, just protectant for the dashboard and stuff. I do keep that in here. That was one modification. You can see I guess I can come out and show you that. You can see the floor mats. I have the floor mats from Tesla with the lips. So there are two kinds of, I guess three kinds of mats you can buy from Tesla. You can buy these all-weather ones that have the lips. That kind of go right up against the edge of the car, or you can buy ones that don't have that. So I decided to go ahead and buy the ones with the lip. I think they could provide a little bit better coverage. I do need to swap them out now that it's the summer. I had them on for the winter in case I had like snow on my shoes or something. They did do a really good job of keeping the car clean. What else? So in my trunk, I'll show you what I keep in my trunk. This is the charger. This is the 20 volt charger. I do have this jumper thing that I used to keep in my old car. I don't use that anymore. This is just a couple of buckets that I can use to clean my car. I have have some Armor All bug and tar wipes, some car wash. This is the wrench I keep in my car at all times. I don't know why. And then I bought these, but I have not installed them. These are supposed to be the brighter LEDs. So these are LEDs that are supposed to make the inside brighter for the ambient lighting, as well as the mostly for the ambient lighting. And it comes with this tool to pop open the ones that are already installed. The problem is I've tried once or twice, and I didn't try it too aggressively, but they are hard to open. The lights that are already installed are quite hard to open, and I am not willing to risk damaging my Tesla just for some brighter lights. And I've seen a lot of people do it online, so I'm sure it's not difficult, but I don't want to risk it. I do have these this sunshade that I just bought maybe a week ago. I haven't had the time to install this. This is supposed to suction off to the one side and you pull it out and it's easy and it stays on. I have not put it on. Okay, I went to UNC for medical school, so that's why I have a Carolina sticker. Let's look at my car. Like I said, I have had 20,369 miles on my car. I do have the Home Link installed right there. It didn't come with the car. I think it was $300 extra to get it installed. It's nice when I go home. It opens the garage door automatically. So that's nice. Other things, I'll show you how I keep my settings. Not really. I usually keep it in chill mode, so I keep it in chill. Gives me great fuel efficiency, or electricity efficiency I should say. I keep it in standard regen braking, standard steering mode. I do like the hold mode, so I do a follow distance that depending on what speed I'm going. I do like to keep this lane departure avoidance warning off because it vibrates your steering wheel, and you will feel these vibrations and you will feel like there's something wrong with your car, but it's just that lane departure warning. I was actually gonna see if I didn't bolt my tires incorrectly or something one time after rotating my tires, and then I realized, oh, I had just turned on the lane departure warning. Yep, there's that. Not much. I do have the basic autopilot. I don't have the full self-driving capability. My premium connectivity will run out on June 28th because that's when I bought it on June 29th. Let's see, I can show you what I keep in here. I just returned a Amazon package. I have my garage door opener for my apartment building. I have a Easy Pass thing. I have one installed here for North Carolina called NC Quick Pass that I just got. This Easy Pass belongs to my fiance's parents and I need to return it to them. I don't know why I still have it. I never used it. Other than that, I think let's talk about my experience with the car. I've had the car for a full year now, almost a full year, and I've done, like I said, 20,000 miles on it. It would have been about 25,000 if it wasn't for this COVID stuff. I drive 35 miles to work and back. I do that about 10 to 12 times a month, not too much. So I drive a lot. I use my basic autopilot almost every time I drive, unless I'm going like a mile away and it's not worth it. But a lot of times even then I might use it. I love this car. I cannot imagine going back to a car that doesn't have all these features. The rear view camera is beautiful, very helpful. The radar detectors everywhere that help you sort of park and things like that, very helpful. The autopilot, the supercharging capability of the Tesla is amazing. I've gone to Rochester, New York from North Carolina. That's about 12 hours of driving. I've had no issues of full superchargers or having to wait to supercharge. I typically drive a lot long distance, even before the Tesla, and I would always stop at like 2.5-3 hours point, which is what the Tesla requires me to do. And actually my trips are more enjoyable because when I stop, I'm not trying to hurry and pee and run back to the car and get out of there. I just kind of take my time, spend a good 15 minutes there. In 15 minutes I usually do get enough charging to make it another 2.5-3 hours. As far as dash cam, I like the dash cam. I like the Sentry mode. I don't use the Sentry mode at work or at my apartment building. It's a pretty safe apartment building. It's a gated garage, so I don't use it. I do use it when I'm in parking, in like Target parking lot or something like that, not at home or work. And I really haven't caught anything interesting. When I first bought it, I did catch a few people like peeking in the car and excited to see a Tesla, but I don't really watch my Sentry mode videos unless I notice some damage, which I've never noticed any damage. I do think that people who keep Sentry mode on at all times might not be as green as Tesla's goal was, because you would be wasting 20 miles of range every day, which is a significant amount of range to be wasting every day without even driving. So I don't recommend using Sentry mode at home or work. I understand if you're driving around not familiar territory and you want your Sentry mode on. That would save you a few bucks if somebody were to hit you. The dash cam is a must-have. Any car, Tesla or any other car. It's nice in a Tesla that you don't have to put the cameras in; they're already built in. So the dash cam is a must. I have a 64 gig flash drive that's connected to the thing in there. I do have a USB hub in there, which I'm sure you've all seen one. It's nothing special. I bought it off of eBay. One thing I want to mention is using this, let me see if I can get a better view. Using the USB ports at the back of the car is a lot faster to charge. So using these is a lot faster to charge your phones than using the USB ports in the front of the car. So I would recommend you keep a cable in the back. So this cable up here that I use to charge my phone actually attaches to the back. There is this other cable that goes into the front of the car. That's for my passenger, but typically I would focus on using the back. There's two of them, so you can I guess potentially put two up back there, and both phones would charge pretty quickly. Now let's talk about the range. At 80% I get 253. It's at 249 right now because I drove a few miles. So you can see right there that the notch for 80% is just off of that green bar, because the green bar is not actually at 80%. The green bar is, yep, like that. The green bar where 249 miles is actually a few miles off of my 80%. So at 100%, I get about 315 miles. When I bought the car, 100% was 325 miles. Okay, so the rear wheel long range Tesla Model 3 comes with 325 miles of range, 20,000 miles driven, 1 year of driving, and my range is 315 miles, so I've lost 10 miles of range. Okay, so this is where I plug my car in. I live in an apartment building, and this is where I plug my car in. I kind of just drop the cable right there, and I plug it in. And this is the state that my car is in usually, right? So I want to talk to you about efficiency, range of the car, battery degradation, and so on. Let's get back in the car so I can talk about that. So let's go over some of my energy charts. So this is the last 30 miles. As you can see, I average only 179 miles. I mean 179 watt hours per mile, which is very low. The car is calculated at 230, maybe 234, something like that, to calculate this rated range. Depending on how aggressively you drive, you might get less range. My trip meters, let's go through my trip meters here. Here we go. So it's a lifetime. This is not true lifetime because the lifetime doesn't show up as lifetime. I named it lifetime. This is true lifetime, which is 20,369. But I got my car with 4 miles on it, and when I bought my car, I made a tag called lifetime at 20,365. I'm at 243 watt hours per mile, which is, maybe about 2 or 3% higher than 3% higher than what the rated watt hour per mile is per EPA or by Tesla. I'm not sure which one. Trip B, this is my springtime. This is the last 610 miles. I had a trip meter for the winter, so I reset this depending on the season. For the winter, I was sitting at 250-ish, 250-ish, 255-ish watt hour per mile. And then about a month ago or so, I reset it for the springtime, now that it's warmer temperatures. So, in the summertime, spring, summer, fall, you're really getting really great range. You're getting way more than the 315 that's quoted. But in the winter time, you'll get, maybe up to 10%, 20%, depending on where you live. 10% for North Carolina, maybe 15 to 20% up in the Northeast, maybe even more if you live in even colder climates of range. And that really depends on not just your heater use, but it also has to do with how the battery discharges and things like that. So there's this huge, there's a lot of people with strong opinions about surviving in a Tesla with a 120 volt only charging situation. There's a lot of people with very strong opinions, and I try not to. I talk on some of these forums, but I never really get into that argument because I know that the people who are talking about it don't really know what they're talking about because they always survive with the 220 volt or 240 volt charging situation. So I have this 120 volt charger that I use. It charges at 4 miles an hour. So let me see if you can see it in there. Right, it charges at 4 miles an hour. Actually averages about 4.5 to 5 miles an hour. I've never really seen it charge less than at a speed of 4 miles an hour. A lot of people, or 4.5 miles an hour. A lot of people will say in the winter time it's going to be slower. That's not really true unless you're parking your car out in the elements in the first half an hour. The battery will warm up to a sufficient temperature to be able to take in 4.5 miles an hour. It doesn't need to warm up to supercharging speeds. It doesn't need to warm up to take in 25 miles an hour. It only needs to warm up to take in 4.5 miles an hour, and it's sufficiently able to do that in the first 20 to 30 minutes. So let's talk about, I'll just walk around my car while I talk about surviving with 120 volt, which I don't feel like I'm surviving. Before, when I started this video, my car was not plugged in. I am not working for the past 2 days, and I wasn't working today. So 3 days in a row I wasn't going to work. So I went ahead and kept my car unplugged because I didn't need to charge it to 90%. I had the car sitting at 80%. If I work 5 days in a row, I drive about 60 to 70 miles a day, which is much longer commute than anybody's commute. I drive 35 miles there, 35 miles back, which is a much longer commute than pretty much most of America. And I work 12-hour shifts, which is also a longer shift than most of America, right? So I come home, I plug in my car, I get about 10 hours of charging because it's about an hour drive for me. I get about 10 hours of charging, in which I get 45 to 50 miles back. So I lose about 15 miles of range that day, right? And do that times 5 shifts in a row, right? Do that times 10 shifts in a row. You're still at 150 miles range at the end of that last charging session. So what I'm saying is you can survive with a long commute on 120 miles. That being said, first of all, after my 12-hour shifts, I only have 10 hours at home. I am not going anywhere. I'm eating, I'm sleeping, I'm not going anywhere. But say you have a much more flexible, say you drive 30 miles and you come back and you want to drive 30 miles again, and you're going to be doing a lot of that with only a few hours of charging in the middle. This might not be the best deal for you, but that's not how everybody lives, right? That's not how everybody's everyday goes. You can always say that even a faster charging option might not be sufficient for some people, because we're talking about average folks. We're not talking about people who are driving constantly every day. Statistics show people only drive about 20,000 miles a year. I drive more than that. People really actually just drive 15,000 miles a year. I drive way more than that, and I haven't had an issue with 120 volt. Once I have went to the supercharger when I didn't need to, because I was worried that I might not have enough range for the 5 shifts I had coming up. And in reality, I probably did have enough range, but I had just driven here from Charlotte, which is about 140 miles of range used, or 145, because of highway speeds, and I had only like 100 miles left, and I had 3 shifts in a row. Overnight I would have gotten to 150. 3 shifts in a row, it would have gotten close. So I went to the supercharger and I got 100 more miles of range in like 15 minutes. Probably took me 10 minutes to drive there, 10 minutes back. So I did have to waste 30 minutes, but that's 30 minutes of wasted time in a year of car ownership. I don't think that's significant enough for me to justify to have a 220 volt. If I were to have a house, sure, I'll get that. I'll install that. If you have a house, might as well install it. It's convenience. It's probably worth the money. But I live in an apartment building. Next year too, I'm going to live in an apartment building, and I'm going to have a covered parking spot, but with the same thing, with a 120 volt outlet. So that's that. Let's talk about supercharging. I used a referral code and I had 5,000 free miles of supercharging. I have not used that. So pretty much I have not driven that many miles in supercharging. Most of the miles are like day-to-day driving. My supercharging miles would expire in the end of July because they extended it for a month, which is fine. I don't mind paying for supercharging if I need to. If you have any other questions, concerns, or if you would like me to go over something else in greater detail, please let me know, and I'll be happy to make another video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and comment. Again, I'm Virat from Tech, Tesla, and More.